Well, cocoa butter comes in as a solid in 1 pound blocks. As you see, it's very hard. Now, it will eventually melt, but I'm gonna shave it down like cheese to kind of make it a little quicker and easier to melt. I just rub it on the thing. Tell you one thing, you have to watch. You have to watch for the little grater there. Has to watch for your little fingernails and your knuckles. If you're not careful, you will scrape them. It will melt. Into your skin. Actually, in the hard state, they actually go a little bit further. All right, now shea butter is a little bit different than cocoa butter. It is real butter. It's about the consistency of butter, and you cannot grate shea butter because it will gum up the grater. So you have to kind of cut it down. So it's just like blue butter. You take a little knife or something and kind of cut it up. Best you can do is get it down to some little workable pieces, So we're just gonna cut it up. Get it down as small as pieces as we can get. It will gum up your instruments. So. So now we're going to break it down a little bit further. Like I said, the purpose here is just to get it down to a workable size, so we can, so it will melt in a reasonable period of time. Pull this out of the way. Now that we have it in our little melting jar, I'm going to add the coconut oil. I find that coconut oil it keeps it from, once you whip it, it keeps from going all the way back to a state of solid. So coconut oil keeps it kind of whippable and pliable. So this is some coconut oil I just happen to have, and we're gonna do the next step is to leave it out in the sun and let it melt. I'm not saying yes too. I'm gonna put the top on. I don't really have to do this. I'm gonna put the top on it to melt it. Now the reason I do this is you have to remember that this coconut butter and shea butter and coconut oil is a food. And if you set it outside and leave it open, you will find that you'll find an occasional fruit fly in it, because it does at this point it is a food. So anyhow, we're getting ready to melt it down. I'm gonna probably set it out in the sun while I go to church, or sometime I go out there and sit out in the car. It's getting cool now, so we might have to use other methods to melt it down. Yet still another method for when the weather breaks of melting it down is called a double boiler method. And that is you put your hot water in a pan. Now I don't recommend you set the solution in there and boil it I suggest you boil the water first, whether it's from a tea kettle or you boil it in the pan, and then set the solution over in there. You know, center it a little bit. But I don't recommend that you leave it on the eye while you are melting the solution. And also, it's been my experience, depending on how much it is, coffee, hot water will do just as well. So either way it goes, we melt the ingredients down to a liquid. Okay, now we got back from church, and the coconut butter, coconut oil, and the shea oil butter has all melted together. It's in liquid form now. So now I'm going to add the tea tree oil. So I'm going to add this is about 8 ounces, so I'm going to add 8 drops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 1 and 2 for good measure. You don't want to put too much tea tree oil in it because you don't want it to smell, as my wife said, I don't want it around here smelling like no tree. So I'm going to just mix it in. And now actually the oil is hot. So now I'm going to pour it, and I'm pouring it in a jar like this because it's what's called a whippable glass. Pour it in here. So now we take our solution and we place it into the refrigerator to be chill. Remember, refrigerate but don't freeze. Alright, see you after a while, my friend. Okay, so now we're down to the final step. As you see, once it's chilled, this is what it looks like. Almost like look, when I first bought it, I stuck my finger down in it. So now it's whipping time. Give it a little whip appeal. Just stir it. Hope my wife don't find out I'm using one of forks for this. So I'm gonna whip it. We put it in little balls here. Wooden spoon, wooden barrel, whatever. That's how it's made. And so forth and so forth and so forth.